Hey everyone, it's Emily, and today we are building a little Snow White house. It's not that little of a house, it's kind of a small house. It's on a 20 by 30 lot, it's not like a massive house or anything. But yeah, we're building a house that's kind of inspired by Snow White to go along with my Disney princess house build thing that I'm doing that I didn't really mean to do on purpose, but am now just kind of, it happened, okay? It's a thing that we're doing, and we're gonna keep going with it. But Snow White was one that I've gotten requested a couple times, so I decided to go ahead and do a Snow White house. And also, I have a few other princesses that I've been wanting to do that I want to talk about in a minute that I would love some ideas for, because I'm not totally sure how to do a house for them. Because so far I've done Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and I've done Cinderella, because that was all kinds of like pumpkin-y stuff and it fit really well with fall and Halloween coming up and all of that. And now we're doing Snow White, who I don't think necessarily fits into fall, because I was kind of trying to make them like seasonal, and maybe when it gets to be a little bit colder I'll pick some different princesses that I think would go better with wintertime, and then maybe when it gets warmer again we'll get back into some more that are more summery. So it'll just kind of be like not a series that we're going to wrap up anytime soon, but one that we just do every now and then. But it turns out that the past couple of house builds that I've done have been all this, pretty much, except for my budget family house, which was a little bit of like a Twitter followers pick my build type of thing. But anyway, in case you missed that, I did some polls on Twitter the other day, and I asked for feedback on like different things, like what type of house, like a family house that's on a budget, or a mansion, how many Sims should be in it, which world we should build in, which season. So if you don't want to miss out on the next time I do one of those, and you want to give me your input and vote in the polls, then definitely make sure to follow me on Twitter. And for anyone who doesn't have a Twitter, I didn't have a Twitter until I started my YouTube channel. Well, that's a lie. I had one in high school, and then I decided that, you know, Twitter is just stressful and like no one really cares what I have to say, so I just didn't bother. Then I started a YouTube channel, and I was like, probably should have, you know, all forms of social media that make sense for having a YouTube channel. And I think Twitter is probably the main one, other than like your YouTube channel itself. So I got back into Twitter, and I think that it's like, even if you don't tweet ever, it's good to keep up with any creators that you follow, because I think pretty much everyone that I follow on YouTube has a Twitter, and they like tweet stuff about, you know, what's going on with them, or like their content and whatnot. So it's a good place to keep up to date on stuff. So highly encourage anyone who doesn't have a Twitter to make one, just to follow people, not even to like tweet things if you're not into that, or if you don't really want to be bothered with like keeping up with another form of social media or something, because I know that that's something that for a while I was like, I want as few social medias as possible. And then I started a YouTube channel, and I was like, well, that doesn't really work anymore. So, you know, now I never check Facebook, and that's fine, because I have Twitter, and I hardly even check Instagram, but that's fine too, because, you know, who really cares about those two things? No one. They're basically the same. They're owned by each other. No, they're owned by Facebook. Whatever. Anyway. As you can see with our lovely Snow White house, we've got lots of apple pictures that are going to be in this house, because, you know, that makes sense. And then we also have lots of mirrors, and not as many mirrors as I would have liked. I think that I probably should have put a few more in, but I built this house, pretty much I built the whole outside and the first floor in one day, and then over a week later I came back and I did the landscaping and the second floor. So I think I lost track of my vision a little bit by the time I got to the second floor, but to be fair, the second floor is just kids' bedrooms and a bathroom, so you don't really, you know, see too many references up there except colors and stuff. I tried to keep it very, like, primary colors in this, which is, you know, red, yellow, blue. Because that's the colors that I think of when I think of Snow White, so everything's very like white and neutral, kind of like my other princess houses, and then we just have like the pops of color that kind of are the colors that I think of, at least when I think of these princesses. Depending on where you're from, I don't know, I think if you're going by like Disney movies, Disney just has their movies in different languages, like with you know, different voice actors, but I'm not sure if any of these princesses have like other stories that are kind of more built into or like have their own version in different languages. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I obviously only speak English. Well, maybe not obviously, but I only speak English. So I'm going off of the kind of like American version of these, which probably isn't the best or the most accurate, but it's all I've got and it's my childhood, so that's what we're doing. But anyway, getting to some of the princesses that I've been getting requests for that I'm not sure how to do yet. One of them, I know how I kind of want to do it, but I need terrain tools, which has been a big thing for me recently, and I know a lot of other builders feel the same way. But it's like I have all these ideas and they're just not going to work until I have terrain tools. Or they could work, but they'll be a million times better when we have terrain tools. So I'm just kind of holding out for that. For a lot of my ideas, like I really want to do Moana, and I want to do a house for her on the Windenburg Island, and I kind of want it to just be a small house. Maybe, I don't know if I want it to be a tiny house, but I definitely want it to just be for her, because I feel like her character is so independent, and there isn't really, I mean, there's like Maui, but her and Maui aren't like, they don't get together because he's like an adult and a god or whatever in the movie, and she's basically a child. So I don't want to have any type of like family house for her just because I don't really feel like it fits her personality, but I do want to put her house on the Windenburg Island. And if you have any ideas for like styles of houses I should go for, then definitely let me know. I would love to hear, because that's something that for Moana and for Pocahontas, I've gotten several requests to do a house for Pocahontas, and I just don't know how to pull it off, because obviously, you know, the more European princesses, it's easy to just do, you know, a regular family house in the game and just kind of put little hints of colors and references. Like with Cinderella, I had lots of like glass furniture in the house, and then with Snow White, I'm having lots of mirrors and apple pictures. And then with Beauty and the Beast, I just had lots of yellow and books and stuff. But for Pocahontas, I feel like I can't get away with just doing a regular house, you know? Like that just doesn't feel right to me. So I want to do something different for that, but I don't want it to be like stereotypical or anything that's kind of like toning down the Native American aspect of, you know, Pocahontas. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that one. So like I said, if you have any ideas, definitely love to hear. Please share them with me. And yeah, I would really, really appreciate that, because I'm just really struggling in my head with how to come up with that and do it in a way that I'm happy with and that fully represents Pocahontas, you know? And I wanted to focus on that one so much just because I have gotten several requests. Pretty much every time I do one of these or I ask for a request for a Disney princess, I always get Pocahontas, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm ignoring you or that I'm not going to, you know, make her house, but I just haven't figured out a way to do it that I'm happy with. So that is all. It's in my head, but I need some help. And with both of those princesses, are they princesses? Kind of. I guess they are. I don't know. With both of them being mentioned, if you have any other Disney princesses or even Disney characters, I think it would be fun to branch out and not just make this like a princess series, but make this like a Disney thing. Or it might not even end up being Disney, because I kind of want to do an Anastasia house when it gets to be winter. But Anastasia isn't a Disney princess, so, which actually blew my mind, so I'm really sorry if I just like blew anyone else's mind. If I just, you know, broke you by telling you that Anastasia isn't a Disney princess. She's not. You can Google it. That's why she's not in any of the Disney parks or anything. For the longest time, I was so confused because Anastasia is one of my favorites, and she's not even a Disney princess. So yeah, that's that. And that's all. I don't know. But yeah, any Disney characters, princesses, anything that you would want to see me make a house for, let me know. And if you have any ideas for styles of houses, if they're kind of unconventional, then also would love to hear those ideas as well, and figure out a way to include them in the series. I actually need to make a playlist for this, because since I started off doing the Belle one and I was just like, oh, I built this house and it kind of reminded me of Belle, so then I just kind of went with it for the decor of the rest of the house. I wasn't even planning on making this any type of series, but then I was like, oh, Cinderella pumpkins, like that would be fun. And then I was like, oh, Snow White, lots of apples and stuff, like that would be fun. So then here we are, and I wanted to give Snow White kind of like a mini apple orchard thing, but then I had this idea that maybe Snow White, like there are lots of apple pictures because maybe she likes apples. But maybe she was also so scarred from the experience of, you know, the poisoned apple and whatnot that she wouldn't want to grow apple trees on her property. Like, maybe that's a little bit too much. Like, she's normalizing the apples again by putting them in her house. But, you know, having actual apple trees on the property would just be, she's not emotionally prepared for that yet. So I don't know. That's that. Like I said, I built this house on 2 different days in, like, over the span of more than a week, so I kind of just forgot about my whole apple orchard idea when I did the landscaping, and now, as per usual, I'm trying to rationalize it. Also, I'm not sure if that toilet's gonna work. I really am not. I don't know if Sims can reach it. You know, spoiler alert, I don't play or test my houses. I don't know why that's a spoiler. But yeah, I don't play or test my houses because I'm lazy, and I'm really sorry about that, but I do have a decent knowledge base of how the game functions, and I just rely on my own intuition. My intuition player tests houses is what I'm getting at. I think that I have a decent grasp on what Sims can reach, and I think that they'll be able to get to that toilet, and I know some ways that you could play around with that room to make it work. So I don't think it would be like the end of the world if they can't, but I'm real sorry if that doesn't work for you. I probably shouldn't expose myself like this, you know, in the middle of my voiceovers. Like, hello, red alert, Emily doesn't play or test her houses, but it's fine. You know, I feel like honestly most people don't play or test their houses because I hear so few people mention that they do that I'm assuming that anyone who doesn't mention it just doesn't play or test their houses, and that's why I usually don't say anything. But now I'm making it into this whole huge thing, and you know, it's fine. Oh, one thing that I do want to mention, this has to do with my save file that I'm making. So if you've been keeping up with my apartment builds, then you know, you probably have been hearing about this more recently, but I'm in the process of filling up all of the lots in The Sims with all new lots and townies and stuff, and if you want to know more about the townie part of it, definitely make sure to watch one of my apartment builds, because I am going to be getting townies from you guys off the gallery, so if you want to know more about that, like I said, watch the apartment builds. But I was just... The thing that made me think about this is me saying that I don't play or test things. Well, I feel like it's important that I at least play or test my save file. So something that I want to start doing in the next few weeks, or like, kind of like as I go with the save file, is I think I'm going to make a sim and kind of play the game in my free time, which I don't have very much free time to play the game, but I want to start playing just for the purpose of player testing all of my community lots, because I think that one of the biggest things with creating a save file is having new community lots to visit, because I know that I personally get sick of going to the same ones all the time. I got sick of the base game ones, I've even gotten sick of some of the custom save files that I've been playing in, and that's just because I've played in them so many times now that I just want new community lots, and I don't want my community lots to not work. Because I feel like it's one thing if you build a family house and you make something that like Sims kind of can't reach and you have to go in and like scoot some things around, but if you have a whole save file of community lots that don't work, like what's the point of your save file? You know? So I really don't want that to happen with mine, and I am going to be working on that and making sure that they all work. And another thing that I thought of that I didn't think of when I made my first few community lots is that I want to make sure that all of the integral parts of that lot are base game. So like, you know, they have some nice toilets that came with seasons and cats and dogs and stuff that aren't base game, but they're nice toilets, and maybe I'd use them in a few of my community lots. But if someone doesn't have, I mean, if you don't have all the packs, you're going to be missing stuff anyway, but I don't want people to be missing something like toilets because I decided to use a toilet from an expansion pack. So I don't know why I'm sharing all this. This is so unnecessary, but it's just something that I've been thinking about recently, and I want you guys to have toilets. So we're gonna use base game only toilets and showers and stuff, because the other day I was building a gym and I was like, how unfortunate would it be to download this gym and not have any toilets or showers when that's like a required thing for the lot. So I'm gonna try to make sure that anything that's required for the lot type is going to be base game. So like I have a library that's in the world, and even if I don't have every single bookcase that's in the library as a base game one, just because of how it looks, you know, for aesthetics and stuff and how I want the lot to feel, I do want to make sure that I have at least one that is base game. And then I know I have some like art tables and stuff for kids to do. I don't know, basically anything that's a major activity, I want to make sure that I have at least one of them on the lot that's base game, so that it's still a complete lot even if you don't have all the packs, especially if it's in a base game world, because right now I'm mostly working on San Myshuno and Willow Creek, so obviously with the city living stuff there are certain lot types that only work for city living, like the arts center and the karaoke bar, so those things I'm not going to be as picky about. But if it's something like a library or a gym or any other lot that just comes with the base game, I really want to make sure that it's not fully base game. Like, it's not a base game only lot, but it's a lot that if you download it and you're missing some stuff, you're just missing like clutter items and maybe some furniture, but you're not missing like the main lot functioning items. Does that make any sense? I don't know. See, like I said earlier, this is probably an unnecessary discussion, but it's something that I've been thinking about, and I want to let you guys know what I'm planning, because this save file, it's probably not going to be ready for a while, I would say a few months, and I just want to kind of let you guys know where I am in the planning process, and if you have any ideas for me, then definitely I would love to hear them now, sooner rather than later, so that I don't decide, you know, after I'm done with 5 of the worlds that I should have maybe, you know, made all the toilets base game. Stuff like that. Anyway, now we're on to the upstairs of this house. I've just rambled my way through the whole rest of it. I really like the downstairs. The upstairs of this, I think, is very unrealistic for regular family gameplay, but I think that it would be very easy to renovate for a normal family. Like this bedroom over here in the little turret thing, I was originally planning on making a little like library, like reading nook thing, but I ended up having to make it a bedroom because I decided, since this is a Snow White house, we need to make sure we have room for 7 children, because, you know, the 7 dwarfs, which obviously aren't her children, but that's how we're doing it in The Sims. And I actually kind of feel a little bit bad because I feel like I cheated the system by, I used the bassinet as one of the beds because the rooms are so small, I just couldn't fit as many beds as I wanted to in each of them, so I decided that the bassinet was just going to have to be one of the beds. And if you were going to have a, you know, your Snow White sim and then a spouse, you would kind of need to have, what's it called? You could only have 8 sims in the house. What am I talking about? I don't know. I forgot my words, but you can only have 8 sims in the house, so if you had like your spouse and whatever, then that would be 2 of the sims. And then if you have 6 children, then that's all the sims you can have. But if you had 7 kids, you would not be able to have a spouse. So I was thinking maybe we lost one of the dwarves somewhere along the way. We lost Grumpy. Who needs Grumpy? No one needs Grumpy anyway. So he's gone. Bye. Grumpy's canceled, and, you know, your baby is in the bassinet and then has a nice little toddler bed next to it for when they age up. And then you only have 6 kids. Wow, you only have 6 kids. Also, this bedroom is very, very small for 3 children to share. I think that you could fit 2 in it more comfortably, and then have a dog, because I did put some paw prints, and I'm not sure if I put an actual pet food bowl in the house, but I put like a leash and some paw prints, and I'm not sure if I ended up putting in a pet bed, but there are kind of hints that a dog lives in this house, because I think that this lot in Brindleton Bay is one of the perfect lots to have a dog that just kind of like roams free around the area. I didn't put any kind of fence around the backyard because it's just kind of like in an open field area that's very much off the road, and it's not in a neighborhood, it's kind of like more out in the countryside. So I thought that this would be the perfect place to have a dog as a pet, but then I kind of forgot about the fact that, you know, if we have 8 sims, then we can't have a dog, and if we have 7 children, then we can only have, you know, 1 parent, and there were just lots of things that I forgot. It was a slight oversight, everything's fine. Okay, anyway, we are now on to the outsider. We have been for a little while now, actually. I realized that I took some awkward breaks. I think I was watching a stream while I was building this, or I might have just been talking to my friends in Discord. I can't remember, but I had some weird pauses in the footage where it was just like on the same screen for like a solid minute, and this is sped up quite a bit, so that means for several minutes I just wasn't doing anything in the build, and I wanted to cut those out before I forgot where they were. So I just did that, and now I don't know what I was talking about, but as far as I can tell, we just jumped from being in the upstairs of the house to being being outside the house because of, you know, how far ahead the footage jumped, but it's fine. We're doing, I almost said furnishing, we're landscaping now, and I really love this front yard. I did a lot of stuff with terrain paint, and I cut out some of it at the very end because it was just a little bit much, but I did want to show the majority of my process of the terrain painting and stuff. So I've started doing a lot of things with, you know, not sidewalks, but like with walkways, and then kind of like lining walkways and flower beds with different kinds of like rocks and stuff. Like you can see those little pebble things that are kind of around the regular fountain thing. I actually want to go back through a lot of my builds that I've done for my save file and go in and add these new terrain painting things that I've been doing, just because I think it makes it look a lot more complete and nice, especially if you have a row of houses and like one house has it and the other houses don't. It just looks a little bit off. And the reason why I've been talking about my save file so much is because I've actually decided that this is one of the houses that's going to be included in it. It's going to be in Brindleton Bay. I probably won't do like a full series for each world that I'm doing because I've realized that I have some builds that I've done that I really want to include that I wasn't planning on including, and this is one of them. So this one and my Cinderella house will both be in the save file, along with a mansion that's also supposed to go in this area of Brindleton Bay. It's kind of the top right section of the map, but they all have a similar color scheme, so they'll all be in there. But anyway, we're now at the end of the video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave me any suggestions for more Disney-inspired builds that you would like to see on the channel, and that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. Bye!